Gaining and acting on Islamic knowledge. A great distraction which prevents one from submitting to the obedience of Allah, the Exalted, is ignorance. It can be argued that it is the origin of every sin, as the one who truly knows the consequences of sins would never commit them. This refers to true beneficial knowledge, which is knowledge that is acted upon. In reality, all knowledge which is not acted on is not beneficial knowledge. The example of the one who behaves in this manner is described in the Holy Quran as a donkey which carries books of knowledge which do not benefit it. Chapter 62 Al-Jumu'ah, verse 5.
And then did not take it on, did not act upon knowledge, is like that of a donkey who carries volumes of books.
A person who acts on their knowledge rarely slips up and commits sins intentionally. In fact, when this occurs, it is only caused by a moment of ignorance where a person forgets to act on their knowledge, which results in them sinning. The Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, once highlighted the seriousness of ignorance in a hadith found in Jami at-Tirmidhi, number 2322. He declared that everything in the material world is cursed except for the remembrance of Allah, the Exalted, whatever is connected to this remembrance, the scholar and the student of knowledge. This means that all the blessings in the material world will become a curse for the one who is ignorant, as they will misuse them, thereby committing sins. In fact, ignorance can be considered a person's worst enemy, as it prevents them from protecting themselves from harm and gaining benefit, all of which can only be achieved through acting on knowledge. The ignorant commits sins without being aware of them. How can one avoid a sin if they do not know what is considered a sin? Ignorance causes one to neglect their obligatory duties. How can one fulfill their duties if they are unaware of what their duties are? It is therefore a duty on all Muslims to gain enough knowledge to fulfill all their obligatory duties and avoid sins. This is confirmed in a hadith found in Sunan Ibn Majah, number 224. Acting on the beautiful names of Allah, the Exalted. In a hadith found in Sahih Bukhari, number 2736, the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, advised that whoever knows the 99 names of Allah, the Exalted, will enter paradise. Knowing does not only refer to memorizing them. It actually means to study them and act on them according to one's status and potential. For example, Allah, the Exalted, is the most merciful according to his infinite status. This attribute means that Allah, the Exalted, bestows countless favors on the creation and is always extremely kind to them. This same characteristic has been attributed to others, such as the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. Chapter 9 at Tawbah, verse 128.
There has certainly come to you a messenger from among yourselves. Grievous to him is what you suffer. He is concerned over you, i.e., your guidance, and to the believers is kind and merciful.
When used in reference to the creation, merciful means soft-hearted and compassionate. Similarly, Allah, the Exalted, is all-forgiving according to his infinite status. And adopting this attribute by forgiving others is something which has been encouraged in Islam. Chapter 24 and Nur, verse 22.
And let them pardon and overlook. Would you not like that Allah should forgive you?
So the divine attributes of Allah, the Exalted, can be adopted by Muslims according to their status. Therefore, Muslims must first understand the meaning of the divine attributes and names, and then adopt the meaning of the names in their character through action, until they become firmly rooted into their spiritual heart, so that they can achieve noble character. Acting on these divine names and attributes according to one's level will strengthen their faith and therefore their obedience to Allah, the Exalted, which involves fulfilling his commands, refraining from his prohibitions, and facing destiny with patience according to the traditions of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. Contemplating and acting on the Holy Quran. In a hadith found in Imam Munzari's Awareness and Apprehension, number 30, the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, advised that the Holy Quran will intercede on Judgment Day. Those who follow it during their lives on earth will be led to paradise on Judgment Day. But those who neglect it during their lives on earth will find that it pushes them into hell on Judgment Day. The Holy Quran is a book of guidance. It is not merely a book of recitation. Muslims must therefore strive to fulfill all aspects of the Holy Quran to ensure that it guides them to success in both worlds. The first aspect is reciting it correctly and regularly. The second aspect is to understand it. And the final aspect is to act on its teachings according to the traditions of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. Those who behave in such a manner are the ones who are given glad tidings of right guidance through every difficulty in this world and its intercession on the Day of Judgment. But as warned by this hadith, the Holy Quran is only guidance and a mercy for those who correctly act on its aspects according to the traditions of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. But those who misinterpret it and instead act according to their desires in order to gain worldly things, such as fame, will be deprived of this right guidance and its intercession on Judgment Day. In fact, their complete loss in both worlds will only increase until they sincerely repent. Chapter 17 Al-Isra, verse 82.
And we send down of the Quran that which is healing and mercy for the believers, but it does not increase the wrongdoers except in loss.
The one who contemplates upon the Holy Quran will always benefit from its sciences, which in turn will strengthen their faith. Chapter 8 Al-Anfal, verse 2.
And when his verses are recited to them, it increases them in faith.
Whoever ponders over its content and composition will observe how each part is in harmony with other parts, how it contains no contradictions or inconsistencies, and they will truly understand that it has been revealed by none other than the All-Wise, Allah, the Exalted. If it had been from any other, mankind would have found elements of falsehood in it, as well as contradictions. Chapter 4 An-Nisa, verse 82.
Then do they not reflect upon the Quran? If it had been from any other than Allah, they would have found within it much contradiction.
Allah, the Exalted, commanded Muslims to ponder over the Holy Quran, meaning to carefully think about its meanings, to devote one's attention and time to this important task, to contemplate its discourses and their practical implications. Through this the door to knowledge opens, and by virtue of acting on this true knowledge all good is attained, and faith is strengthened. Through this contemplation a Muslim will recognize their Lord and His perfect attributes, which increases their obedience to Him. They will learn the path that leads to the mercy of Allah, the Exalted, in both worlds, the characteristics of those who walk this path, and the immense mercy which has been saved for them. Through this contemplation they will recognize their enemies, namely, the devil, their inner self and misguided people. They will observe the path which leads to punishment in both worlds, the characteristics of those who walk this misguided path and their ultimate outcome. The more they recognize this danger, the greater their obedience to Allah, the Exalted, will become. The more a Muslim ponders upon the Holy Quran, the more their faith, knowledge and actions increase. This is why Allah, the Exalted, has commanded and encouraged this important deed, and is in fact the very purpose of divine revelation. Chapter 38 Sad, verse 29.
This is a blessed book which we have revealed to you, that they might reflect upon its verses, and that those of understanding would be reminded.
Acting on the traditions of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. Knowing and acting on his noble morals and manners leads to the recognition of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. Whoever comes to recognize him will never doubt his traditions and the truth which was sent to him. This leads a Muslim to adopting true sincerity towards him. In a hadith found in Sahih Muslim number 196, the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, advised that Islam is sincerity towards the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. This includes striving to acquire knowledge in order to act on his traditions. These traditions include the ones related to Allah, the Exalted, in the form of worship, and His blessed noble character towards the creation. Chapter 68 Al-Kalam, verse 4.
And indeed, you are of a great moral character.
It includes to accept His commands and prohibitions at all times. This has been made a duty by Allah, the Exalted. Chapter 59 Al-Hash, verse 7.
And whatever the Messenger has given you, take, and what he has forbidden you, refrain from.
Sincerity includes to give priority to his traditions over the actions of anyone else, as all paths to Allah, the Exalted, are closed except the path of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. Chapter 3 Ali Imran, verse 31.
Say, O Muhammad, if you should love Allah, then follow me, so Allah will love you and forgive you your sins.
One must love all those who supported him during his life and after his passing, whether they are from his family or his companions. May Allah be pleased with them all. Supporting those who walk on his path and teach his traditions is a duty on those who desire to be sincere to him. Sincerity also includes loving those who love him and disliking those who criticize him, irrespective of one's relationship with these people. This is all summarized in a single hadith found in Sahih Bukhari, number 16. It advises that a person cannot have true faith until they love Allah, the Exalted, and the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, more than the entire creation. This love must be shown through actions, not just words. Pondering over the creation. It is important for a Muslim to be observant in their daily life and avoid being too self-absorbed in their own worldly matters, so that they become heedless over the things which are occurring around them. This is an important quality to possess, as it is an excellent way to strengthen one's faith, which in turn helps one to remain obedient to Allah, the Exalted, at all times. For example, when a Muslim observes a sick person, they should not only aid them by whatever means they possess, even if it is only a supplication, but they should reflect on their own health, and understand that they too will eventually lose their good health, either by an illness, aging, or even death. This should inspire them to be grateful for their good health, and show this through their actions by taking advantage of their good health in both worldly and religious matters which are pleasing to Allah, the Exalted. When they observe the death of a rich person, they should not only feel sad for the deceased and their family, but realize that one day, which is unknown to them, they will die also. They should understand that just like the rich person was abandoned by their wealth, fame and family at their grave, so will they too be left only with their deeds in their grave. This will encourage them to prepare for their grave and the hereafter. This attitude can and should be applied to all things one observes. A Muslim should learn a lesson from everything around them, which has been advised in the Holy Quran. Chapter 3, Ali Imran, verse 191.
And give thought to the creation of the heavens and the earth, saying, Our Lord, you did not create this aimlessly. Exalted are you above such a thing, then protect us from the punishment of the fire.
Those who behave in this manner will strengthen their faith on a daily basis, whereas those who are too self-absorbed in their worldly life will remain heedless, which may lead them to their destruction. Pondering upon the creation of the heavens and earth, and all that is in between them, and upon the different creations, leads to the strengthening of one's faith. This is because the greatness of the creation indicates the greatness of the Creator. The perfect harmony of the creation, such as the sun and the moon, indicates the unlimited knowledge and wisdom of Allah, the Exalted. The plentiful bounties which encompass people indicates the mercy of the Allah, the Exalted. All these factors and more leads a Muslim to exalt Allah, the Exalted, praise Him and be sincere to Him. In a hadith found in Sahih Muslim number 196, the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, advised that Islam is sincerity towards Allah, the Exalted. Sincerity towards Allah, the Exalted, includes fulfilling all the duties given by Him in the form of commands and prohibitions solely for His pleasure. As confirmed in a hadith found in Sahih Bukhari, number 1, all will be judged by their intention. So if one is not sincere towards Allah, the Exalted, when performing good deeds they will gain no reward in this world or in the next. In fact, according to a hadith found in Jami at Tirmidhi, number 3154, those who performed insincere deeds will be told on Judgment Day to seek their reward from those who they acted for, which will not be possible. Chapter 98 Al-Bayinah, verse 5.
And they were not commanded except to worship Allah, being sincere to Him in religion.
If one is lax in fulfilling their duties towards Allah, the Exalted, it proves a lack of sincerity. Therefore, they should sincerely repent and struggle to fulfill them all. It is important to bear in mind Allah, the Exalted, never burdens one with duties they cannot perform or handle. Chapter 2 Al-Baqarah, verse 286.
Allah does not charge a soul, except with that within its capacity.
Being sincere towards Allah, the Exalted, means that one should always choose His pleasure over the pleasure of themselves and others. A Muslim should always give priority to those actions which are for the sake of Allah, the Exalted, over all else. One should love others and dislike their sins for the sake of Allah, the Exalted, and not for the sake of their own desires. When they help others or refuse to take part in sins, it should be for the sake of Allah, the Exalted. The one who adopts this mentality has perfected their faith. This is confirmed in a hadith found in Sunan Abu Dawood, number 4681. Pondering over the constant need of the whole creation of its Lord leads a Muslim to humbly submit before him. It encourages a Muslim to submit their needs and rely on none other than Allah, the Exalted. At one point in history, Earth seemed to be the only significant thing in the universe. But with the passing of time and scientific advancements, it was discovered that Earth is in fact only a drop in a vast ocean, namely, the universe. It is important for Muslims to understand these scientific teachings, as it inspires one to adopt good characteristics, such as trust in the infinite power of Allah, the Exalted. When a Muslim faces difficulties and questions the help of Allah, the Exalted, they should ponder over the size of the universe and how many creatures exist in it. The Earth is a single planet in a solar system which is made up of many planets and a star. Many solar systems make up a galaxy. Many galaxies make up the universe. A Muslim firmly believes that all these things were created and are sustained by Allah, the Exalted, without any partner or help. When a Muslim reflects on this deeply, they should realize that if Allah, the Exalted, can sustain the entire universe without anything being deprived or falling out of sync, He can also take care of their issues and difficulties. Provision is something people often stress about, and in some cases this stress even drives them to seek provision from unlawful sources. Whenever a Muslim faces this stress, they should reflect on the universe and on the countless creations which Allah, the Exalted, provides continuous provision for. If he does this, why should one suspect he will not provide provision for a person who only needs a few things to sustain themselves? Taking a step back when facing difficulties and assessing these facts is an excellent way to remove stress and strengthen one's trust in Allah, the Exalted. Teachings are found in the Holy Quran and in the traditions of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, such as the promise of Allah, the Exalted, to provide continuous provision to the creation. Chapter 29 Al-Ankabut, verse 60.
And how many a creature carries not its own provision? Allah provides for it and for you.
But the truth of these teachings is also found in the creation, such as the universe. Chapter 3 Ali Imran, verse 190.
Indeed, in the creation of the heavens and the earth and the alternation of the night and the day are signs for those of understanding.
Therefore, it is important for Muslims to firstly learn and act on the teachings of the divine scriptures, and then reflect on the creation. This will lead to the strengthening of one's faith, which includes the strengthening of one's trust in Allah, the Exalted. Pondering over the favors of Allah, the Exalted. No creature is free of the countless favors of Allah, the Exalted, and pondering over them strengthens one's faith in Him. Faith encourages one to show true gratitude for the favors of Allah, the Exalted, which in turn strengthens one's faith further. This occurs as true gratitude involves using each blessing one has been granted in ways pleasing to Allah, the Exalted. This is the very essence of true obedience, which in turn strengthens one's faith in Him. The more grateful a Muslim becomes, the more blessings they will receive, which in turn leads to the strengthening of their faith. Chapter 14 Ibrahim, verse 7.
And remember, when your Lord proclaimed, "If you are grateful, I will surely increase you in favor."
Truly remembering Allah, the Exalted. In a hadith found in Sahih Bukhari, number 6407, the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, advised that the difference between the person who remembers Allah, the Exalted, and the one who does not is like a living person compared to a dead person. It is important for Muslims who desire to create a strong connection with Allah, the Exalted, so that they can overcome all difficulties in this world and in the hereafter successfully, to remember Allah, the Exalted, as much as possible. Put simply, the more they remember Him, the more they will achieve this vital goal. This is achieved by practically acting on the three levels of the remembrance of Allah, the Exalted. The first level is to remember Allah, the Exalted, internally and silently. This includes correcting one's intention so that they only act in order to please Allah, the Exalted. The second is by remembering Allah, the Exalted, through one's tongue. But the highest and most effective way of strengthening one's bond with Allah, the Exalted, is practically remembering Him with one's limbs. This is achieved by fulfilling His commands, refraining from His prohibitions, and by facing destiny with patience according to the traditions of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. This requires one to gain and act on Islamic knowledge, which in turn is the root of all good and success in both worlds. Those who remain on the first two levels will receive reward depending on their intention, but they are unlikely to increase the strength of their faith and piety, unless they move to the third and highest level of the remembrance of Allah, the Exalted. Understanding the excellence of Islam. Islam is noble, good and pure. Its beliefs are correct and most beneficial. The morals and behavior it promotes are the best and most beautiful. The actions and speech it encourages are the best and most just for all of creation. For example, in a hadith found in Sunan an-Nasai, number 4998, the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, advised the signs of a true Muslim and a true believer. A true Muslim is the one who keeps their verbal and physical harm away from others. This in fact includes all people irrespective of their faith. It includes all types of verbal and physical sins which can cause harm or distress to another. This can include failing to give the best advice to others, as this contradicts sincerity towards others, which has been commanded in a hadith found in Sunan an-Nasai, number 4204. It includes advising others to disobey Allah, the Exalted, thereby inviting them towards sins. A Muslim should avoid this behavior, as they will be taken account for every person who acts on their bad advice. This has been warned in a hadith found in Sahih Muslim, number 2351. Physical harm includes causing problems for other people's livelihood, committing fraud, conning others, and physical abuse. All of these characteristics contradict Islamic teachings and must be avoided. A true believer, according to the main hadith under discussion, is the one who keeps their harm away from the lives and property of others. Again, this applies to all people irrespective of their faith. This includes stealing, misusing or damaging the property and belongings of others. Whenever one is entrusted with someone else's property, they must ensure they only use it with the owner's permission and in a way which is pleasing and agreeable to the owner. The Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, has warned in a hadith found in Sunan an-Nasai, number 5421, that whoever illegally takes someone else's property through a false oath, even if it is as small as a twig of a tree, will go to hell. To conclude, a Muslim must support their verbal declaration of belief with actions, as they are the physical proof of one's belief which will be needed in order to obtain success on the Day of Judgment. In addition, a Muslim should fulfill the characteristics of true belief in respect to Allah, the Exalted, and people. An excellent way of achieving this in respect to people is to simply treat others how they wish to be treated by people, which is with respect and peace. Through pondering over the excellence of Islam, Allah adorns faith in the hearts of Muslims and makes it beloved to them. Chapter 49 Al-Hujurat, verse 7.
But Allah has endeared to you the faith, and has made it pleasing in your hearts, and has made hateful to you disbelief, defiance and disobedience. Those are the rightly guided.
This love leads one to adorn themselves both inwardly through sincerity and outwardly through actions which please Allah, the Exalted. Striving to reach excellence of faith. In a long hadith found in Sahih Muslim, number 99, the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, explained the meaning of ihsan, which can be translated to mean excellence. This excellence refers to one's conduct and behavior towards Allah, the Exalted, and the creation. Acting with excellence has been mentioned throughout the Holy Quran, such as chapter 10 Yunus, verse 26.
For them who have done excellent is the best reward and extra.
The Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, has explained this verse in hadiths found in Sahih Muslim, numbers 449 and 450. The word extra in this verse refers to when the inhabitants of paradise will be blessed with the divine vision of Allah, the Exalted. This reward befits the Muslim who acts with excellence. As excellence means to lead one's life as if they can witness Allah, the Exalted, observing their outer and inner being at all times. A person who can observe a powerful authority watching them will never misbehave out of awe of them. In fact, the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, once advised someone to always behave as if they were constantly being observed by a righteous man they respected. This has been advised in a hadith found in Imam Tabarani's Al-Mujam al-Kabir, number 5539. Whoever acts in this manner will very rarely commit sins and always hasten towards good deeds. This attitude creates the fear of Allah, the Exalted, and acts as a shield from the fire of trials in this world and the fire of hell in the hereafter. This vigilance will ensure one not only fulfills all their duties towards Allah, the Exalted, but it also encourages them to fulfill their responsibilities towards the creation, the peak of which is to sincerely treat others with kindness. This person will fulfill the hadith found in Jami at Tirmidhi, number 251, which advises that a person cannot be a true believer until they love for others what they love for themselves. This level of excellence ensures one acts with the right intention, which is the foundation of faith, according to the hadith found in Sahih Bukhari, number 1. Success is guaranteed for the one who performs good deeds and demonstrates good behavior with the right intention, namely, to please Allah, the Exalted. The more excellent a person acts, the stronger their faith becomes until they become a Muslim who is far from heedlessness and is always struggling to beautify their hereafter and worldly life according to the teachings of Islam. It is feared that the opposite of this reward will be given to those who turned away from Allah, the Exalted. As they lived without fearing the all-encompassing gaze of Allah, the Exalted, they will be veiled from seeing Him in the hereafter. Chapter 83 Al-Mutaffifin, verse 15.
No. Indeed, from their Lord that day, they will be partitioned.
Those who fail to reach the level of acting as if they witness Allah, the Exalted, must act on the second part of the advice given in the main hadith quoted at the beginning. This person should sincerely believe that Allah, the Exalted, is constantly observing them. Even though this state is lower in rank than the one who acts as if they observe Allah, the Exalted, nonetheless, it is a great way of adopting true fear of Allah, the Exalted. As mentioned earlier, this attitude will prevent one from committing sins and encourage them towards good deeds. As advised by the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, in Imam Tabarani's Al-Mujam al-Kabir, number 7935, the one who strives to adopt this mentality will be granted shade on the Day of Judgment by Allah, the Exalted. The divine presence of Allah, the Exalted, is mentioned throughout the Holy Quran, such as chapter 57 Al-Hadid, verse 4.
He is with you wherever you are, and Allah of what you do is seeing.
The Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, has advised to adopt the true awareness of the divine presence of Allah, the Exalted, in many hadiths. For example, in one divine hadith found in Sahih Bukhari, number 7405, Allah, the Exalted, declares that He is with whoever remembers Him. This is the reason why it has been reported in Hilyat al-Awliya, volume 1, pages 84 and 85, about the commander of the faithful, Ali bin Abu Talib, may Allah be pleased with him, that he shied away from the glitter and pomp of the material world and only found solace in the lonely night. Meaning, he sought the companionship of Allah, the Exalted, rather than the companionship of people. Adopting the awareness of the divine presence of Allah, the Exalted, not only prevents sins and encourages good deeds, but it also prevents loneliness and depression. A person is very rarely affected by mental health issues when they are constantly surrounded by a person who loves them and aids them. No one loves the creation more than Allah, the Exalted, and there is no doubt that He is the source of all aid. Therefore, acting with excellence benefits one's faith, actions, emotional state, and the wider society. A Muslim must avoid becoming like those who treat Allah, the Exalted, as the most insignificant of those who observe them. This is a serious spiritual illness which leads to all types of sins and evil behavior towards Allah, the Exalted, and the creation. Sincerity to the creation. Sincerity and kindness towards the creation, according to the teachings of Islam, strengthens faith. This has been indicated in a hadith found Sahih Muslim number 196, where the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, advised that Islam is sincerity towards the general public. This includes desiring the best for them at all times and showing this through one's words and actions. It includes advising others to do good, forbidding them from evil, to be merciful and kind to others at all times. This can be summed up by a single hadith found in Sahih Muslim, number 170. It warns that one cannot be a true believer until they love for others what they desire for themselves. Being sincere to people is so important that according to the hadith found in Sahih Bukhari, number 57, the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, placed this duty next to establishing the obligatory prayer and donating the obligatory charity. From this hadith alone, one can understand its importance, as it has been placed with two vital obligatory duties. It is a part of sincerity towards people, that one is pleased when they are happy and sad, whenever they are grieved, as long as their attitude does not contradict the teachings of Islam. A high level of sincerity includes one going to extreme limits to make the lives of others better, even if this puts themselves in difficulty. For example, one may sacrifice purchasing certain things in order to donate the wealth to the needy. Desiring and striving to always unite people on good is a part of sincerity towards others, whereas dividing others is a characteristic of the devil. Chapter 17 Al-Isra, verse 53.
Satan certainly seeks to sow discord among them.
One way of uniting people is to veil the faults of others and advise them privately against sins. The one who acts in this way will have their sins veiled by Allah, the Exalted. This is confirmed in a hadith found in Jami at Tirmidhi, number 1426. Whenever possible, one should advise and teach the aspects of religion and the important aspects of the world to others, so that both their worldly and religious lives improve. A proof of one's sincerity to others is that they support them in their absence, for example, from the slander of others. Turning away from others and only worrying about oneself is not the attitude of a Muslim. In fact, this is how most animals behave. Even if one cannot change the whole society, they can still be sincere in helping those in their life, such as their relatives and friends. Simply put, one must treat others how they desire people to treat them. Chapter 28 Al-Qasas, verse 77.
And do good as Allah has done good to you.
In fact, a Muslim cannot become a true believer until they love for others what they love for themselves. This has been confirmed in a hadith found in Sahih Bukhari, number 13. This does not mean a Muslim will lose their faith if they fail to adopt this characteristic. It means that a Muslim's faith will not be complete until they act on this advice. This hadith also indicates that a Muslim will not perfect their faith until they also dislike for others what they dislike for themselves. This is supported by another hadith found in Sahih Muslim, number 6586. It advises that the Muslim nation is like one body. If one part of the body is in pain, the rest of the body shares the pain. This mutual feeling includes loving and hating for others what one loves and hates for themselves. A Muslim can only achieve this status when their heart is free from evil traits, such as envy. These evil traits will always cause one to desire better for themselves. So in reality, this hadith is an indication that one should purify their heart by adopting good characteristics, such as being forgiving, and eliminate evil traits, such as envy. This is only possible through learning and acting on the teachings of the Holy Quran and the traditions of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. It is important for Muslims to understand that desiring good for others will cause them to lose out on good things. The treasury of Allah, the Exalted, has no limits, so there is no need to adopt a selfish and greedy mentality. Desiring good for others includes striving to aid others in any way one can, such as financial or emotional support, in the same way a person would desire others to aid them in their moment of need. Therefore, this love must be shown through actions, not just words. Even when a Muslim forbids evil and offers advice which contradicts the desire of others, they should do so gently, just like they would want others to advise them kindly. As mentioned earlier, the main hadith under discussion indicates the importance of eliminating all bad characteristics which contradict mutual love and care, such as envy. Envy is when a person desires to possess a specific blessing which is only obtainable when it is taken away from someone else. This attitude is a direct challenge to the distribution of blessings chosen by Allah, the Exalted. This is why it is a major sin and leads to the destruction of the envier's good deeds. This has been warned in a hadith found in Sunan Abu Dawood, number 4903. If a Muslim must desire the lawful things others possess, they should wish and supplicate to Allah, the Exalted, to grant them the same or similar thing without the other person losing the blessing. This type of jealousy is lawful and is praiseworthy in aspects of religion. This has been advised in a hadith found in Sahih Muslim, number 1896. The Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, advised that Muslims should only be jealous of a wealthy person who uses their wealth correctly, and be jealous of a knowledgeable person who uses their knowledge to benefit themselves and others. A Muslim should not only love for others to obtain lawful worldly blessings, but also for them to gain religious blessings in both worlds. In fact, when one wishes this for others, it encourages them to strive harder in the obedience of Allah, the Exalted, by fulfilling His commands, refraining from His prohibitions, and by facing destiny with patience. This type of healthy competition is welcomed in Islam. Chapter 83 Al-Mutaffifin, verse 26.
So for this, let the competitors compete.
This encouragement will also inspire a Muslim to assess themselves in order to find and eliminate any faults in their character. When these two elements combine, meaning striving in sincere obedience to Allah, the Exalted, and purifying one's character, it leads to success in both worlds. A Muslim must therefore not only claim to love for others what they desire for themselves verbally, but show it through their actions. It is hoped that the one who is concerned for others in this way will receive the concern of Allah, the Exalted, in both worlds. This has been indicated in a hadith found in Jami at Tirmidhi, number 1930. Commanding good and forbidding evil. Enjoining one another to the truth and patience and forbidding evil strengthens one's faith in Islam. In a hadith found in Sahih Bukhari, number 2686, the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, warned that failing to fulfill the important duty of commanding good and forbidding evil can be understood with the example of a boat with two levels full of people. The people on the lower level keep disturbing the people on the upper level whenever they desire to access water. So they decide to drill a hole in the lower level so that they can access water directly. If the people on the upper level fail to stop them, they will all surely drown. It is important for Muslims to never give up commanding good and forbidding evil according to their knowledge in a gentle way. A Muslim should never believe that as long as they obey Allah, the Exalted, other misguided people will not be able to affect them in a negative way. A good apple will eventually get affected when placed with rotten apples. Similarly, the Muslim who fails to command others to do good will eventually be affected by their negative behavior, whether it is subtle or apparent. Even if the wider society has become heedless, one should never give up advising their dependents, such as their family, as not only will their negative behavior affect them more, but this is a duty on all Muslims according to a hadith found in Sunan Abu Dawood, number 2928. Even if a Muslim is ignored by others, they should discharge their duty by persistently advising them in a gentle way, which is supported by strong evidence and knowledge. Only in this way will they be protected from their negative effects and pardoned on the Day of Judgment. But if they only care about themselves and ignore the actions of others, it is feared that the negative effects of others may well lead to their eventual misguidance. It is important to note, failing to act on one's own advice prevents faith from strengthening. In a hadith found in Sahih Bukhari, number 3267, the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, warned that the one who contradicts their own advice when commanding good and forbidding evil will be punished in hell. Instead of following in the footsteps of the righteous predecessors by advising only for the sake of Allah, the Exalted, many people advise for other reasons, such as to gain popularity and worldly things. For example, some scholars often strive to be in the spotlight of gatherings and events, and are not pleased with a seat which is to one side as they desire a central seat. When their intention became like this, Allah, the Exalted, removed the positive effect of their advice, and thus they now have little positive influence over their listeners. They should have shown a practical example, instead of saying one thing and doing another. This caused their advice to become ineffective. Muslims should strive to always act on their own advice before commanding others to do so, as behaving in this manner is hated by Allah, the Exalted. Chapter 61 As-Saf, verse 3.
Greatly hateful in the sight of Allah is that you say what you do not do.
This does not mean one must become perfect before advising others, as this is not possible. Instead, they should correct their intention and prove this through their actions by striving to act on their own advice before advising others. Only with this attitude will they avoid the punishment mentioned in this hadith. The failure in acting on this principle has caused the advice of Muslims to become ineffective, even though the number of advisors has dramatically increased over the years. Striving against things which oppose faith. Struggling against the branches of disbelief such as hypocrisy and sins help to strengthen faith. Just as it is necessary to act on the things which directly strengthen faith, it is also necessary to strive against the things which weaken faith. This includes sincerely repenting from sins. Sincere repentance includes feeling remorse, seeking the forgiveness of Allah, the Exalted, and anyone who has been wronged, making a firm promise not to commit the sin or a similar sin again, and making up for any rights which have been violated in respect to Allah, the Exalted, and people. A Muslim must combat doubts in religion with knowledge and action, and base desires must be replaced with the desire for faith. This is because the desire for true success can only truly come about by leaving base desires and opposing them. When a Muslim prevents themselves from falling prey to doubts and base desires, their faith will become strong and complete. Muslims must remain steadfast whenever they are attacked by their enemies, namely, the devil, their inner devil, and those who invite them towards the disobedience of Allah, the Exalted. A Muslim should not turn their back on the obedience of Allah, the Exalted, whenever they are tempted by these enemies. They should instead remain steadfast on the obedience to Allah, the Exalted, which involves fulfilling His commands, refraining from His prohibitions, and facing destiny with patience. This is achieved by avoiding the places, things and people who invite and tempt them towards sins and the disobedience of Allah, the Exalted. Avoiding the traps of the devil is only achieved through gaining and acting on Islamic knowledge. The same way traps on a path are only avoided by possessing knowledge of them. Similarly, Islamic knowledge is required to avoid the traps of the devil. For example, a Muslim might spend much time reciting the Holy Quran, but because of their ignorance, they might destroy their righteous deeds without realizing it through sins such as backbiting. A Muslim is bound to face these attacks, so they should therefore prepare for them through the sincere obedience of Allah, the Exalted, and in return gain an uncountable reward. Allah, the Exalted, has guaranteed right guidance for those who struggle in this way for His sake. Chapter 29 Al-Ankabut, verse 69.
And those who strive for us, we will surely guide them to our ways.
Whereas facing these attacks with ignorance and disobedience will only lead one to difficulties and disgrace in both worlds. The same way a soldier that possesses no weapons to defend themselves would be defeated, an ignorant Muslim will have no weapon to defend themselves when facing these attacks, which will result in their defeat. Whereas, the knowledgeable Muslim is provided with the most powerful weapon which cannot be overcome or beaten, namely, sincere obedience of Allah, the Exalted. This is only achieved through sincerely gaining and acting on Islamic knowledge. Conclusion. All Muslims have faith in Islam, but the strength of their faith varies from person to person. For example, the one who follows the teachings of Islam because their family told them to is not the same as the one who believes in it through evidence. A person who has heard about something will not believe in it in the same way as the one who has witnessed the thing with their own eyes. As confirmed in a hadith found in Sunan Ibn Majah, number 224, gaining useful knowledge is a duty on all Muslims. One of the reasons for this is that it is the best way a Muslim can strengthen their faith in Islam. This is important to pursue, as the stronger one's certainty of faith, the greater the chance they will remain steadfast on the correct path, especially when facing difficulties. In addition, having certainty of faith has been described as one of the best things one can possess in a hadith found in Sunan Ibn Majah, number 3849. This knowledge should be obtained by studying the Holy Quran and the hadith of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, through a reliable source. Allah, the Exalted, did not only declare a truth in the Holy Quran, but he also provided evidence for it through examples. Not only examples which are to be found in the past nations, but examples which have been placed in one's very own life. For example, in the Holy Quran, Allah, the Exalted, advises that sometimes a person loves a thing even though it will cause them trouble if they obtained it. Similarly, they might hate a thing while there is much hidden good in it for them. Chapter 2 Al-Baqarah, verse 216.
But perhaps you hate a thing and it is good for you, and perhaps you love a thing and it is bad for you. And Allah knows while you know not.
There are many examples of this truth in history, such as the Pact of Hudaybiyah. Some Muslims believe this pact, which was made with the non-Muslims of Mecca, would completely favor the latter group. Yet, history clearly shows that it favored Islam and the Muslims. This event is discussed in the hadiths found in Sahih Bukhari, numbers 2731 and 2732. If one reflects on their own life, they will find many examples when they believed something was good when it was actually bad for them, and vice versa. These examples prove the authenticity of this verse and help one's faith strengthen. Another example is found in chapter 79 and Nazi'at, verse 46.
It will be on the day they see it, Judgment Day, as though they had not remained in the world, except for an afternoon or a morning thereof.
If one turns the pages of history, they will clearly observe how great empires came and went. But when they left, they passed away in such a way, as if they were only on earth for a moment. All but a few of their signs have faded away, as if they were never present on earth in the first place. Similarly, when one reflects on their own life, they will realize that no matter how old they are, and no matter how slow certain days might have felt overall, their life so far has passed in a flash. Understanding the truthfulness of this verse strengthens one's certainty of faith, and this inspires them to prepare for the hereafter before their time runs out. The Holy Quran and the hadith of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, are full of such examples. Therefore, one should strive to learn and act on these divine teachings so that they adopt certainty of faith. The one who achieves this will not be shaken by any difficulty they face, and will remain steadfast on the path which leads to the gates of paradise. Chapter 41 Fussilat, verse 53.
We will show them our signs in the horizons and within themselves until it becomes clear to them that it is the truth.